the question of Kamala Harris and reparations has come up. People have asked quite legitimately, what is the vice president's position on reparations? Will she advance the reparations cause? We see a defeated bill in California right now damper some spirits, but inspire others to keep struggling more and to recognize how urgent, how ripe this moment is to struggle for reparations. And during this time, a clip has reemerged. This clip is not recent. I know a lot of people on the internet are pretending that it's recent, but this is actually from 4 years ago when Kamala Harris was running for president in the Democratic primary in 2000. And she appeared at the National Action Network, and Reverend Al Sharpton asked her a question about reparations. Here's what she said.
Reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved. If you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that
bill. So that bill, that question, that topic, that issue have all been challenged in the last few days. People are saying, is she lying? Is she being honest? What is Kamala Harris's real position on reparations? Well, I'm going to tell you Kamala Harris's real position on reparations. Kamala Harris supports the idea of reparations in the abstract. That's the first thing, right? Kamala Harris genuinely believes that Black people deserve reparations. She said something in 4 years ago. I'm sorry, 5 years ago in the Root in 2019, and she said, "I think there has to be some form of reparations, and we can discuss what that is." We're looking at more than 200 years of slavery. We're looking at almost 100 years of Jim Crow. We're looking at legalized segregation, and in fact, segregation on so many levels that exist today based on race, and there has not been any kind of intervention. That is Kamala Harris in 2019. She also gave a similar interview to The Root. She also spoke right there. Kamala Harris has been unambiguous in the position that she believes that reparations are appropriate, okay, and even necessary. So let's start there. That is her real position on reparations. The next question, though, is what do reparations look like, right? Because she said, and we can talk about what that is, because here's where the rubber meets the road. Here's where the devil is in the details. Kamala Harris has also been on record saying that I'm not going to do something just for Black people. And some people took that to mean she does not support reparations. I don't think that's a fair analysis. I think what's more accurate is to say that Kamala Harris absolutely supports reparations, but she, like Bernie Sanders, like Elizabeth Warren, and like many others who identify as progressive Democrats, believe that reparations should happen through various forms of structural investment. In other words, they believe that if you invest in schools, or you invest in urban renewal, or you invest in infrastructure, or you invest in clean jobs, that these things will bring the bottom rung of the economic and social ladder up. And who's at the bottom? Us. Who's overrepresented among the poor? Us. Who's overrepresented among the urban displaced and the urban mired in precarity? Us. So in that context, it becomes a form of reparations because the people who have been systematically marginalized and dispossessed because of the institutions of white supremacy and the institutions of capitalism that were birthed on the backs of enslaved Africans in America. Because of all of that, investing in the most vulnerable is to invest in the descendants of slavery, which is to give a form of reparations. That would be her argument. Let me be clear, because some of y'all have smoke coming out of your ears right now. I don't agree. I agree with everything that I just said, in the sense that it should all happen. We should invest in all those spaces and places. But I also believe that we should give Black people who are the descendants of American slavery cash payments. No ifs, ands, or buts. We deserve a check. We also deserve to have free college. We also deserve to have economic investments and enhancements and incentives across the board. I'm not saying that we can't do those things, but it's both and, not either or. Don't tell me that you're investing in urban blight as my reparations. Because white people and middle-class people and multinational corporations, hell, the whole system of American capitalism is based on the extracted labor of enslaved Africans. So no, give us our money. Run me my coins. That is a fact. But that brings me to the next question. Because some of y'all are going to say, well, that's not what Sharpton asked. Or Sharpton said, reparations for the descendants of, he said, African slaves. Okay. She said, yeah, if that bill crosses my desk, I will sign it. Some of y'all get excited from that. Some of you say, well, she said she'll sign a reparations bill for American descendants of slavery. Yeah, she said, if the bill crosses my desk. What needs to happen for the bill to cross her desk? That's the part y'all got to pay attention to and listen to. Did she say, I'm going to be whipping up votes? Did she say, I'm going to organize Congress to give us reparations? No. She said, if the bill crosses my desk, what are the odds of the bill getting out of the House and the Senate? What are the odds of the bill even being proposed in the House and the Senate? H.R. 40, a bill about creating a board and a study of the possibility of reparations, is controversial in this country. You telling me we're going to get a bill for reparations passed and all? Yes, if a bill for reparations gets on her desk, she will sign it. That means nothing. That means if my 2-year-old becomes a 5-year-old and says, hey, could I have a pony? And I say, well, no, you can't have a pony. And he says, well, what if I save up enough money? What if I save up $1 million and I buy my own mansion and my own stable and my own pony? Can I then have a pony? And I say, yes, if you do all those things, you can have a pony. Yes, that's all true. So technically I can say I approve the pony. Why? Because I've set a set of conditions that are so unlikely and unreasonable that I don't have to worry about them happening. And if they do, well, shit, if my 5-year-old can come up with $1 million, I should give him a pony. Excuse my almost language there. Similarly, yeah, if the House and the Senate suddenly decide, the House and the Senate can't decide on immigration. They can decide on war. They can't decide on fracking. They can't decide on offshore drilling. They can't decide on education reform. You think they're going to give people reparations? So yeah, that's an easy answer. Yes, if it gets to my desk, I'll sign it. Sure. That is not a courageous position. It's not an uncourageous position. I'm not criticizing Kamala Harris for that. I'm saying it's just not a difficult thing to say yes to. It doesn't actually mean anything. The question is, what political capital are you willing to expend to get the bill to your desk? What are you willing to risk to force that bill to your desk? We got to understand how the legislative process works. That's not her branch. That's not her job. So she's almost the wrong person to ask that question to. A better question would be, what are you willing to do to get us reparations? What does your vision of reparations look like? And how do we get there? So unless you say these things, you're not really getting to Kamala Harris's reparations vision beyond what she's already said. So her reparations position is as strong as any other Democratic candidate. You just have to ask yourself, is that strong enough? Y'all decide for yourselves. All right. I want to thank y'all for watching Night School again, man. I had a good time tonight. I wasn't sure I was going to, man. Things started off a little rough, but we had a good show. We had a good time. Make sure you hit that like button, family. Make sure you hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithms know that what we do here is just as important to you as the corporate media outlets. We have to fight the good fight. Also, hit the subscribe button. Everybody watching right now, hit the subscribe button. And if you're on Twitter, come over to YouTube right now and hit that subscribe button. It makes our footprint bigger, which then allows us to get the content out to more people. And then I'm going to ask you, my family, to hit that join button. If you haven't become a member of the channel, please become a member of the channel. It gives us the financial stability that we need to put out the content that we do every single day. I see a lot of people here. I'm gonna take a quick second and say, they said, does anyone know if Jill Stein has ever talked about reparations? Yes, Jill Stein has talked about reparations. Yes, the Green Party supports reparations for the descendants of American slavery. We've talked about it for decades. You cannot vote for Jill Stein. You cannot like Jill Stein, but it's simply dishonest to suggest. I'm not saying you're saying this, Renee, but it's dishonest to suggest that Jill Stein has never spoken about reparations. She's done so in very clear and unambiguous fashion.